Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to Tabletop Tonic. I'm Luke.
And I'm Nick.
And we are ready to fucking roll. I am a little bit tired.
You went for a long walkie today.
Yeah. We went for a hike. Have you heard of Buck Mountain?
No, but I know you went up, it's near Lake George, right?
Yeah, so you can oversee the lake, and it's 3.3 miles up, a 2,000 elevation. And there's an app that my girlfriend uses to find how difficult these hikes are.
Oh, they're rated?
Yeah, there's high intensity hikes, then moderate, and then easy. Mm-hmm. And the moderate ones are never moderate. Maybe I'm just super out of shape because there are old people on them and stuff. But the hike we just did today, it was flat for a mile and then straight uphill for 2 miles.
Jesus.
It was a fucking nightmare. And literally a huge incline with rocks and you had to cross streams and stuff.
Was this the first time you went to this?
This is the first time we went to this one.
Okay.
And there was a guy running down the mountain, and he stops and he kind of laughs because I'm clearly having a fucking hard time here. And he's like, "Oh, don't worry. It's you're gonna get to a flat part and then one more climb up ahead." And then he kind of just jogs down the mountain. And I was like, "Oh, this is who rates the trails." The people who have the energy to run up and down mountains are yeah, this is moderate. But
it's
yeah,
Mr. Seabrecht.
Yeah.
He would have an easy time with
Yeah, I can see a guy who runs half marathons
every day. Yeah, being this wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
I think things like this, walks and hikes that have ratings, there needs to be a new post-COVID rating. So all the deterioration your body went through during the pandemic should be
the app should take into account for that for everyone. And it's look, this one isn't as easy as we thought it was.
Yeah, it's gonna before you had to quarantine for a year, this probably would have been fine. But right now, maybe go for just a little brisk jog down the street.
Yeah, find something that's just a little walk through the woods.
Yeah, but that was tough, and it took a few hours because it took an hour and a half to get up to the top, which
pretty impressed. How long was the whole thing up?
3.3 miles up.
Okay, so that's pretty good.
2,300 feet, I think, was the incline.
Wow,
that we did.
Jesus. Okay,
so it took an hour and a half. So that was pretty good time. It took over 2 hours to get down, which sounds that doesn't make any sense. But it's because at the top we met an autistic girl with someone working who was watching her, and they asked if they could walk down with us, which of course is fine. It'd be funny if it wasn't fine. Ugh.
It would have been great if you said no.
Yeah, and just sprinted off.
So okay, so was it just one? Was it one girl and her aide, or was it a group of them?
No, just one.
Oh, okay.
And they asked if they could walk down with us to help them down.
Yeah, and you're okay, whatever.
Yeah. So that obviously took a little more time, but it was nice. It's nice to talk to people. I feel like COVID is trained us to feel it's to shy away from people.
Don't talk to strangers anymore. Yeah.
It kind of feels like stranger danger. Every time you're in Walmart and someone sneezes 3 aisles over, you kind of make a beeline towards the exit, I don't know about you. I have a fucking panic attack every time I'm in Walmart now. Just being around that many people.
I don't like being in Walmart just because of all the videos I've seen of just fights breaking out.
Yeah, that is... Walmart is the shit,
Did you see... So I saw this video the other day. I guess an ex-linebacker from the Oakland Raiders. He was in a Walmart, and he got into an altercation with someone in, line. And then there's video of them, yelling at each other, and then they get into a fist fight. And then the dude breaks the linebacker's jaw.
Really?
Yeah. And this dude, I think he's only been retired for a year or two, but he's got to be 6'6" and yoked. And the dude he was fighting was way shorter than he was. And he trashed this guy.
Really?
Yeah. So the NFL was not good to this member of the Oakland Raiders.
I guess not.
So every time I go into Walmart, not that well, that's a more recent one, but also I'm trying to save you, motherfuckers. That lady.
Oh, you fucking accuser.
Yeah, you accuser.
That is the standard cut of the crop though.
Yeah.
At Walmart.
I'm afraid. Yeah. I don't talk to anyone in Walmart just out of fear of something bad
something
happening.
bad happening. But Target you go to, it's like,
You feel safe there.
yeah, it's like someone welcomes you at the door, and you're like, would you like to look at our vineyard vine selection? And you're like, oh, that's posh.
This is fun.
I think I shall partake. And there's like a Domino's, like a slash Starbucks at the entrance.
There's a Starbucks at the entrance. They're like, how do you take your coffee?
And then you go into a Trader Joe's or like a Whole Foods.
I've never been to either of those things.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like a experience.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, Whole Foods, they don't have this anymore, but they used to have like a machine that had a bunch of oranges in the top, and you put a cup under, and it squeezed orange juice.
Made fresh orange juice?
Made you fresh orange juice. And you could like fill up like a half-gallon jug. Granted, it's like the most expensive orange juice. Like it was like $7 for like a glass of it, I think it
Holy
was.
shit.
But it was also like the best orange juice I've ever had in my entire life. Because of course they're like organic, non-GMO.
Yeah.
Which GMO is bullshit anyway. Because everything is
Yeah.
genetically modified.
Yeah. But like Italian virgins pick them and
Yeah. Yeah. That. Did you ever see what a banana looks like before GMO?
No, I haven't seen that. No,
It's
I did see a video of a banana with seeds in it.
that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
There's like huge seeds.
Yeah, they're
in
like
it.
these big black pods that are in there. Yeah,
Yeah, and like strawberries, like all this like stuff we eat now is like did you know lemons wouldn't exist if it weren't for GMOs?
Oh, really?
Because lemons are a mix of citrons and which I guess is just like a citrusy fruit. I've never even heard of this.
I haven't heard of a citron.
And
Is it
tart
sweeter?
oranges.
Okay.
So they just took like the most sour fruit they could and they mixed it and made
together.
lemons. So that's another thing.
Yeah,
But
limes are pretty sour too. I'm assuming those have been around for a while though, compared to a lemon.
aren't limes just derivatives of lemons?
Oh, they might be.
Aren't they just like a version of a lemon?
Maybe.
Because they're not as tart. I know some countries don't have words for limes. There's just lemons and green lemons.
Oh, really?
Like in Brazil, I know.
I know.
Like Portuguese.
In the Keys, they have the key lime, which is I guess that's like different from other lemons.
That's region specific.
Yeah.
The key lime it's like small and it's like tartar, I think, than a lime.
It makes you make a face when you.
Because like real key lime pie is key limes.
Yep.
And you have to have that, but they're like hard to get. So no one really makes key lime pie.
They're only in the Keys.
Yeah. So you have to like that's like one of those things that people are like, it's not real key lime pie if it's not key limes.
Yeah. Also, I guess like they make a meringue out of egg whites, which is like I guess they do like a huge one, a huge like egg white meringue on top of key lime pie, and they bake it, and that's like part of it. Like
Instead of whipped cream. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huh. But yeah, the whole GMO thing is really silly now that, and like MSG too. Like you ever see like stuff that's like no MSG added?
Well, isn't that like a new thing now where people are like, oh, it's okay to have it because like it really doesn't do anything to you?
Yeah. The only studies that show that it does stuff is, and this is monosodium glutamate, and basically a monosodium glutamate, there's glutamates in everything. Your body produces them naturally, but it was first derived from seaweed, but other things have it too. It's the flavor of umami or savory. So every time you eat like a steak and you like taste like that savory flavor, that's the glutamates in the steak.
Okay.
So mushrooms, steak, Parmesan cheese, these all have glutamates. They all have MSG in them, naturally occurring. But basically they found a way to synthesize it, and they put it into like almost every food now has it because it just makes things like taste better. And so the sugar industry and all their fuckery, they attacked fats and they attacked glutamates, which we now know are not as bad. Because in the studies with like MSG, a very small percentage of people did have side effects, and the amount they ate was like half a bowl's worth. Like it was like it was like 10 grams or something, which is an insane amount of it. And you would never eat that, ever.
Get that because isn't it like a powder that you like kind of put in stuff?
You put like a teaspoon in at most to like recipes.
I
and
know,
stuff.
Isn't that like what everyone says is in Chinese food?
Chinese food is common with it,
and isn't that like why they say, "Oh, after an hour you're hungry again"?
Oh, I didn't know that. That makes sense though.
I think that was like the joke was like, oh, they're so like, well, I think that's like the joke with Chinese about like Chinese food in general. It's like, oh, after an hour after you eat Chinese food, you're hungry again.
Yeah.
But
a lot of it is based off like xenophobia though, like the like glutamates.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because like they're like the taboo with like Chinese food and like like the joke it was like, oh, does it have cat in it or shit like that? Like it is kind of based off that too.
Yeah. The joke Chinese, you get hungry again after an hour. But I think they said the reason people would get hungry again is because the MSG. You feel full after a while, but then and you're like, oh, I get it.
It does kind of make you feel like a little more full because I've tried it just like by itself because I do put it in like recipes and stuff. But
I mean, it makes sense that sugar would like a sugar company would do that just because. In reality, like sugar is probably like the worst thing you could have. It's like
it is the worst.
It's like as addictive as like cocaine, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, didn't they do tests with rats? And like
I didn't see those, but I know
I saw they did like a test. I can't remember if it was rats or mice, but they gave one rat like cocaine and they gave one sugar, and I guess similar parts of the brain started firing.
because it's a dopamine
Yeah.
release.
And you get addicted to sugar because it's so.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, your body has natural biome, like gut biome, and if you eat, it's like little microorganisms that live in your gut, and they always crave what your diet is more consistent of. And they immediately send dopamine, like they fire dopamine, like your synapses in your mind. And so that's why, like, if you don't eat fast food at all and then you try McDonald's, you probably hate it because the microorganisms in your gut are like, there's no ones that respond to that.
You're not eating like fried food.
Yeah,
like
but if you eat almost exclusively that, then your body responds.
Then you want that.
You want that because then it's literally like a happiness trigger in your mind. The problem with sugar, though, is that it's really hard to build up like a healthy gut biome, but it's super easy to eat sugar and stuff like that. And then those ones can kill out other microorganisms and like take over way faster than like if you ate sugary food for a week, it would like kill out like your microbiomes. But if you ate salad for a week, it wouldn't fight back against the sugar ones nearly as much. So
I watched this this doc on Netflix about pirates, and they did one. It was like kind of like a mini series about like piracy in the Caribbean, and but they talked about.
I've seen Pirates of the Caribbean.
They kept using that phrasing, Pirates of the Caribbean, and I was like, I wonder if like Disney is like having a stroke somewhere, being like, I want to sue you, but I can't.
But I can't do it because there are Pirates of the Caribbean.
But they were talking about how piracy got started, and it was like a way for the English to battle the Spanish, as like if you're a captain of a ship, you can get this license where it wasn't piracy, you were called a privateer.
Right, because they were commissioned by England, right?
Yeah,
the original pirates.
So you were a privateer of England, and what that gave you permission to do was attack and raid Spanish ships at like free will.
Right.
And you wouldn't get in trouble for it.
Okay.
And whatever loot that you pulled off the ship was yours. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it was there was like a lot of like, like sugar and stuff like that on there. Mm-hmm. But part of it, they were explaining how like the sugar, how like sugar played a big role, and like that was something pirates stole a lot of.
Right.
Because so prior to anyone making their way over to like the Americas and the West Indies, there really wasn't like a lot of sugar throughout Europe.
It was honey, right? I know the Romans used honey to sweeten everything.
There was a lot of honey. And then
but no sugar cane.
No.
Or beets. Yeah. Beet sugar.
So then once they started coming over to like the West Indies, America, and colonizing, that's when they found sugar cane. And then they sent that back, to Europe, England, and stuff like that. And that was something only the rich could get.
Okay.
Which is sugar. Because it was such a prized high commodity that you could like get this thing that makes stuff super sweet.
Yeah.
And then
it would be a shock to like all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, never. Imagine never having sugar your entire life and like tasting it for the first time right now.
Yeah, it would be
You'd
like
probably be like, "What the fuck is this?" Like,
because it's so different than anything. Because they're sweet, and then you add sugar to something, and that's a whole. That is like the base level of sweet.
yeah. So then somehow it trickled out to like even like people who weren't as high as like kings and queens and lords and stuff like that were. Or people from wealthy families were were able to try it. That it became so popular and so in demand that sugar was just like a small percentage of what was like traded like by ship.
Mm-hmm.
That it became like the industry that was like the biggest thing that they were pulling from like the Americas and the Caribbean was like sugar plantations and stuff like that.
That's pretty crazy. I know most sugar now is actually from beets, not sugarcane.
Oh, really?
Because it's a lot easier to grow beets and like derive their natural sugar than because sugarcane you need like a lot of water for, right? It's like a tropical.
Yeah,
and you can only grow it in certain like.
Yeah, you have to grow it in like a wet. You have to grow it, I think, similar to the way you grow rice. You grow it in like a wet. Interesting fact: my grandfather was a foreman at a sugar cane. I don't want to say plantation. It was a sugar field. It wasn't like run by slaves or anything. It was like he worked for a company who owned the sugar field. And,
right.
You know, you had hired farm hands who work the sugar field.
That's kind of like coffee too, where America is like one of the biggest consumers of. I think by volume, America is the biggest consumer.
I'd believe, yeah.
But per capita, Finland is the highest consumer per person.
Really?
Finnish people.
Yeah.
They drink like on average like 6 to 7 cups of coffee a day. That is like mostly espresso and stuff and cappuccino, but like way more. But there's more people in America.
Yeah.
But the only place in America that can actually grow coffee is Hawaii. It's the only state, so we have to export it.
Okay.
Because it has to be.
Isn't where we get our coffee from like South America stuff like that?
Yeah, Colombia. Colombian coffee.
I know parts of
Laird Hamilton's coffee is Hawaiian, so that's like American made coffee.
Okay, I know parts of Africa you get coffee.
Yeah, it just has to be within a certain threshold of the equator in order to grow properly, because it has to be super hot and super wet all the time.
Has to be the right weather conditions to grow.
Right. So Hawaii is the only state where we can actually grow it.
Shit. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's funny, like we consume so much coffee, but you think you really can't make it here in America.
Exactly.
You know?
Same with like chocolate. Like that's another thing where that like grows.
Like these staples of things that we consume are like majority wise like things we can't make ourselves.
Yeah, it's nothing that we can grow in America. Yeah.
Speaking of the piracy thing, though, did you watch Seedacity on Netflix?
No, what's that?
Oh God, I think it's called Seedacity. I hope I'm not getting it wrong. It's about like it's supposed to be about like the whaling and dolphin killing like industry.
Wait, is this about the impact of like fishing?
Yes.
It's called Seaspiracy.
Seaspiracy.
My mom was just watching it before I came over here.
Seaspiracy. Yes.
Yeah.
I watched that the other day. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, she was just explaining it to me, and it's like, the most like damaging thing on the environment is what we're doing to the ocean right now.
By far.
Yeah.
Because I watched it and I thought like, plastic straws and like just random things that we threw out.
Trash in the ocean was like causing a lot of these problems.
That is causing a lot of problems, but I thought it was like stuff that like me and you would use on an everyday basis.
Our garbage, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really like the Great Garbage Island, I think it's
the
Pacific Garbage Island.
Yeah, the Pacific. Yeah.
That's like bigger than Texas or whatever, or Alaska or something. It's big.
Yeah.
It's 53% of it is fishing nets.
Yeah. That's the thing I didn't know was like almost half of the plastic in the ocean is just fishing nets.
Yeah. And it turns out that the people who like the seafood watch organizations are all owned by like companies that have stake in like fisheries, and all their websites. So like the number one way to cut down ocean pollution is to like cut down your fish intake and like stop eating fish in general, which I don't know. It sounds shitty of me, but I probably actually eat majority fish than any other food. Yeah, I have like tuna and salmon like most nights.
I don't eat a lot of. I used to eat a lot of fish. I really don't incorporate it really in my diet as much as I probably should.
Well, maybe you shouldn't now after watching this. Not like
exactly.
not like chicken farming is like the best thing.
Exactly. Or like how we like mass produce cows and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's also like pretty much everything we do is
isn't
like terrible.
Like the sustainability they were saying about like these fishing farms just complete bullshit. Like there's no way to sustainably like keep like any of that or something like that.
Yeah, sustainable just means that you can keep doing it without killing off the population completely. It doesn't mean that it's like not environmentally like destructive, because like tuna, there's like we're down to like 1% of the population of tuna that was in like 1970, which is insane because you find tuna cans like everywhere.
Yeah,
but the main thing was that these fisheries, these big companies have stakes in like the fisheries, and that none of them they're always like cut down on your plastic use and stuff, but they don't say cut down on fish. It made me think about how every time we talk about like global warming and pollution stuff, the topic or like the discussion at play is always you should carpool to work and you should like cut down your plastics and stuff.
Yeah, like the earth is heating up, we're losing like an insane amount of trees and stuff like that.
Right,
yeah.
But it's always like what can you do as like an individual? And then you watch some shit or like look into it, and the impact of individual people is so minuscule.
It's like nothing compared to what industries are doing.
Because industries are like destroying the earth at a rate that like is not even like, it would take me like a million lifetimes to like come close to like.
So like doing as much damage as like.
As anything that like my car will like run its entire life and like die out and I'll get a new car. And like the pollution from that car will not even touch like one plane flight like from here to like California.
Jesus Christ.
It's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah, I saw something.
I just realized I have a hole in the bottom of my sock that I'm showing right to the camera. Sorry.
I saw this post that just don't wear socks.
Yeah, I should.
Socks, yeah.
I want to subject you to my feet.
It was essentially saying that you remember when we were in like school and we like started like talking about like the human like footprint, the carbon footprint of a human, and like throughout your lifetime how much trash you accumulate and stuff like that. And apparently that idea was that came from BP. BP presented that idea.
Oh,
British Petroleum.
They're very environmentally conscious.
Yeah. And I guess the reason they came up with that was because I guess psychologically, if you can pass the blame off to someone else and they think they're the problem, they'll try to make changes.
Right. Because it's like put on the consumer, like how can you, like BP will tweet like, what are you doing to like conserve on like oil?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm not dumping 6 billion barrels into like the Gulf of Mexico.
Exactly.
And just causing damage that can never be reversed.
Yeah.
It's like all put on the consumer to make us think that we're the problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to realize is like a lot of these, not like it's like bad to like, not that you shouldn't try to be like as like environmentally conscious as possible, but it's like all these big companies who are doing all the damage, and in reality, like me and you cannot do anything like as much damage compared to what they're doing.
The American populace can't do as much damage.
They're saying, oh, because psychologically, if they're saying you're the problem, and we have like all these facts to prove it, you're like, oh shit, I guess I have to like change I have to change what I'm doing.
Right.
But in reality, it's like they have to change what they're doing.
Right. And there's no accountability like on their end. Like one thing that the documentary said, Seaspiracy, was that the only reason that plastic straws are like in such big, like Starbucks is like, we're not doing plastic straws, and McDonald's like they're like that was a huge focal point like 2 years ago, right? When Starbucks started doing like
I think so, yeah.
the lidless, the plastic strawless stuff. Unless you're handicapped, you can ask for a plastic straw, but that's cool. It's only 0.03% of ocean trash is like plastic straws and like disposable plastics like that. Jeez. Which the only reason that it was a huge focus is because that one video of the turtle getting a plastic straw pulled out of its nose went viral, put it in everyone's public eye, and then these companies are like, let's latch onto that, put the blame on plastic straws, and no one will realize it's actually all this crazy amounts of fishing that's being done. So
I think I forgot what it was. I think they said it's either 1/3 of the world population or 2/3 of the world's population gets all their food from the ocean. And
that makes sense because 90% of people live on the coast.
yeah.
Of like
and also a lot of like these underdeveloped countries like rely on like fish as like their main source of protein.
Right, because it's also fatty too.
Yeah.
Which is like helpful.
So, and they're saying we're like, I don't know how soon or whatever, but they're like, we're on like this like we're like on like the very edge of like this becoming a massive disaster. And if like nothing gets changed and like the food, like what, like the ocean, like just completely gets like annihilated, you will literally see 2/3 of the population like die over like,
yeah.
Which
a part of the documentary was that there's these regulated areas of like ocean regulation, basically, where like you can't like kayak and stuff, but there's nothing about fishing. And they went up to like an African village, like Western Africa, and which is like a fishing village. And there's these huge like fishery like tankers that are like overfishing. And then you see like these guys on like a canoe trying to catch like one fish for their family. And they'll go up to the ships and be like this, like notion that they're hungry. Like, please like throw us a fish. Because also a huge part of it is bycatch, they call it. Definitely watch the documentary. I won't give it. There's like way more than what I'm saying to it because he like does some pretty cool interviews and stuff. But like they'll like catch like sharks and dolphins and stuff by accident in like the big nets. And then they'll like throw them back to the ocean, but most of the time they're already dead before they reach the ocean. So they're just throwing like
just a dead.
You shouldn't kill sharks anyway, just for shark fin soup.
Exactly, yeah.
Which, by the way, I know someone who tried shark fin soup, and they said it's like not worth it at all.
Yeah, no, it's like this like whole like in China, there's like these like beliefs that like rhino horn and like tiger bones and like shark and like the fin of the shark, like all these things like magically cure all your ailments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's where like all these people like are like eating like ingesting these things you probably shouldn't be ingesting to begin with. Because rhino horn is essentially made out of the same keratin that's like your hair is made out of.
And your nails.
Yeah. And tiger bone is just, that's bone of like any other. That'll be like the same bone of like any other animal.
I think it's more of like a status symbol now because shark fin soup is like $90 a bowl. It's like it's like caviar, right?
Yeah.
Could you eat like a bowl of caviar? I mean, you're only supposed to put like a tiny bit of caviar.
Even the tiny bit is like sickening almost.
Right. But it's like, it's expected at like a rich event gala because it's so expensive.
It's like sturgeon caviar is like the big one, right?
Caviar is sturgeon.
Okay.
If it's not sturgeon, it's roe.
Okay.
Because the roe is just fish eggs.
All right.
Because caviar is sturgeon roe that's fermented and like salted.
Aren't like sturgeon like, isn't like caviar like super hard to get because sturgeons are like...
Yeah, there's only one place in the world that can actually farm them correctly because they're very hard to breed and farm. And then generally you have to kill the pregnant.
You have to kill it right to get all the eggs out.
You don't have to, but if you're doing it wild, they do kill them to get the eggs out, which is crazy that you're killing an entire fish just for the eggs.
Yeah.
To sell for like an insane price.
Like $200 just for like a tiny can.
Yeah.
Or probably even more. I mean, like, I remember like in history classes when they said like the first European explorers coming over to America, and they like wrote down, they said like they would see sturgeons like almost as like long as like rivers or stuff. Like
they're huge fish.
They said like so like because like no one went after these animals before because like, you know, it was just an animal. Like why? Like that was something like there's no need for me to eat that. But now like we just consume things as like sort of like a status thing
because they're supposed to be like a status thing.
Yeah.
It's like lobster. I mean, I do enjoy lobster.
Exactly.
But they used to feed it to prisoners.
Yeah, because that was the poor person's food. Yeah.
Right. And the only reason lobster got big is because when the Transcontinental Railroad in the U.S. became a thing, they were looking for food to sell on the train to people. And they could keep lobster in water on the train and then boil it quick, and it would stay fresh because it's still alive until you kill it. And then you'd feed that, and then that became like a kind of, because if you could afford to get a dinner on the train in like a nice carriage, that was status for you. And so that's why lobster really blew up in popularity.
Yeah, I didn't know that's why it got so popular. I know. I went to Maine a couple times, and they tell you like because lobster's like their big thing out there.
Yeah,
but they like tell you like the history of it, and like lobster was like considered. Yeah, it was like so like it was like a disgusting food that you like only poor people would eat. Lobsters were just washing up on like beaches.
it is like a sea scorpion when you think about it.
It's literally like a sea cockroach, really.
Yeah,
if you think about it. But like they would wash up in like such frequency on the beach that like poor people would just go with buckets and just grab them, and people would be like, "Oh, look at this disgusting person eating like this." Essentially, what they see is like a sea rat, essentially.
Right.
And then they would also feed lobster to prisoners in Maine. And actually, what was kind of funny is that there was a one prison in Maine. The prisoners went on hunger strike because they were fed up with being fed lobster all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they were saying we're tired of being fed. Because even then, that was still lobster was considered as like a disgusting throwaway food. And they all went on hunger strike saying we're not going to be fed this disgusting
poor person food.
Yeah, anymore. So now they get now they get like something like absolutely fucking horrendous now.
Yeah. I know lobster, especially like in America, because Maine lobster is like the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
Like the apex of the lobster form. That is like a regulated industry. So you can only catch them a certain time of year. They can't be too small. They can't be too big. And if they're pregnant,
you can't catch females.
Yeah, so it's a very specific time, which is why lobster is becoming more expensive. Mm-hmm. And you could argue like that's a good thing because like we should regulate it so that way we don't kill every fucking lobster in the ocean.
Exactly.
But I know, I won't say any names, but my one friend worked at like a fish market, and he said his boss would like get lobsters, like his manager, and you're not like he would find that some of them were pregnant, which you're not allowed to catch at all. Mm-hmm. And this is a big fish market, by the way. Like, it's very popular, and I bet a lot of people listening to this have probably shopped at a fish market like this because it's like a chain. And he said that his boss would get pregnant lobsters and just kill them because it was so much easier to kill them than have to send it back. And then there's, like, a lot of fees that are accrued with, like, having...
Jesus Christ.
Because they don't know what it's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do with it. And he said this happened all the time. If you got like one that had eggs, you just kill it and throw it in the garbage. So,
holy shit.
But that's one place.
Yeah.
Imagine how many they're catching
in reality. Yeah.
They don't give a shit about. And there's no one on these fucking boats that are like, hey, like, like checking every lobster.
Yeah, they probably don't care.
They just grab as many as they can from the traps and then just fucking haul them off.
Yeah.
There's no like real regulation, but we still pay like out the ass for this kind of stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So I don't know what the solution is. I mean, I guess it's to consume less seafood.
Yeah, it probably, I mean, it probably comes down to like the more advanced countries being like, we should probably like cut down and highly regulate these like business, like these corporations and stuff like that. Right.
But then it's like, if you eat less seafood, then I would probably eat more chicken. And then that's like a whole other thing because the runoff from like chicken farms goes into the ocean anyway. Yeah. So it's not like that's like any better for like anyone really. And they keep these chickens in like these cages where they can't move their entire lives. Mm-hmm. Have you ever like bought like cage-free eggs at the store?
Yeah. I mean, we get a lot of eggs from our neighbors because they just have chickens.
That's like probably the best thing you can do. Yeah. That's when I get a house, I want to get chickens just to like raise them and get their eggs because like the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But those eggs always taste way better than like the like just regular eggs you get at the supermarket. I find, and they're like the yolks are more yellow because they're allowed to like actually like feed on like rub and stuff. Yeah. They don't eat just like a run of the mill like
just like corn feed and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I always try to go for it's a little more expensive, but I think it definitely tastes like better.
Yeah, no, I mean I don't even remember the last time I really had like supermarket eggs. But it's just because our neighbors
hell yeah.
It's just because like our neighbors have so many eggs, they're like we can't actually like eat or use these.
Right.
So
because they lay a lot.
Yeah, so we end up getting a lot of their eggs. I used to eat eggs raw for a while.
Oh yeah, I've tried that too. It's
I did it for
nasty.
like
Just
2
watch
months.
Rocky, and you're like, hell yeah.
I did it for like 2 months, and
it has a weird consistency.
nothing ever happened to me. You know what I used to do?
Well, your chances of getting salmonella from eggs now is really, really low.
It's like getting trichinosis from a pig now. It's almost
That's also like almost ridiculously low.
Yeah.
Like, because that was in the 70s, that was a big thing.
yeah.
Trichinosis is not really a big deal now
Yeah.
in pigs.
You know, the only way that you could really get trichinosis now is if you eat. I don't know if you eat wild bear or wild boar.
Bears have almost every bear has trichinosis.
yeah.
Like, you really have to cook bear well done.
You have to cook. I forget what the temperature is. You have to cook it like at above
165, I
Is
think.
it 165 or 185?
It might even be higher
Yeah.
to kill that certain. I know. So salmonella is 165, which also this is pretty interesting. I guess because this is like a food episode now, which is fine because it's all like interesting stuff. But the FDA recommends you cook chicken to 165,
Okay.
but if you cook chicken to 150 and let it sit for like I think it's like 4 minutes at 150.
Will the internal temperature raise?
No, it just it kills all the salmonella. The FDA wants you to cook chicken to 165 because at that temperature, all salmonella immediately dies.
Okay.
But you could cook chicken to 140 and let it sit for 20 minutes. And if it sits at that temp for a long time, it 99.79s after that. It's 99.9 log 7 reduction of salmonella is killed from the bird.
Huh. Okay.
So you actually don't have to cook
All the way to 165.
all the way to 165 as long as you keep it at like a little like 150 for like 4 minutes.
Okay.
And that way your chicken tastes way better that way.
I thought you were going to say, I know if you cook things to a certain temperature and you let it sit for a while, sometimes it keeps cooking after a while.
Yeah, that's residual heat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's also like if you cook a chicken to 160, take it out of the oven and foil wrap it, the heat from the outside from the oven keeps working its way internally into the chicken, which for like breasts and stuff, that's not a huge deal. But if you're cooking like a whole turkey, stuff like that, you can take it out like way before because it will go up like 10 degrees easily. Because the bigger like something is, the more residual heat will seep into it because it just contains more.
Okay.
But yeah, they just do that because then there's like nothing on them at all.
Yeah.
Because if they say it just dies at this temp.
Yeah. I guess that's probably more like, like something for restaurants to follow. So like, I guess can you get sued for getting food poisoning?
Yeah, I think
You
so.
can?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get sued.
I know on a lot of,
Because it's on you. Because if you follow the guidelines, then even if the bird is like riddled with salmonella, if you cook it over 165, then
it's just gone.
it's gone. So if you technically follow the FDA guidelines, then
Yeah. I know a lot of like chain restaurants, if you look at the bottom of the menu, it's like consuming undercooked meat and or like raw fish can cause like foodborne illnesses.
yeah.
And like it says like consume this at your own risk or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
I think that's more for steak, like because I think technically a rare steak is undercooked by FDA guidelines. I'd have to look it up exactly what I think they want you to do it to like 140 or something. But 140 is a medium. Well, 125 is medium rare. 135 is medium. So 145 is medium well.
Okay.
At that point, you've pretty much ruined any piece of meat that you have. Mm-hmm. How do you take your steak?
Medium.
Medium? Yeah. I feel like that's good.
Yeah. But isn't beef something you can kind of eat like a little bit raw and still be okay?
Yeah, there's steak tartare, which is uncooked beef. You just have to kind of know where you get it from. Yeah. But in blind taste tests conducted, people were more likely to find the like people would say like, oh, I like rare steak, and like the majority of the time with blind taste tests, they find medium rare to be the tastiest, and the same with if you like medium rare, you like medium more. Okay. So people have like these kind of preconceived ideas.
Is rare undercooked, right?
Rare is like red on the inside.
Okay.
Rare is 115 to 120 degrees.
Okay. It's like bloody, kind of.
Yeah, rare is like the least amount of cooked you can get a piece of meat. Unless you're at a nice steakhouse and you ask for black and blue, which is literally they just sear the outside and the inside's basically uncooked.
Jesus.
So
I don't think I could do that, but
it's a little much. I don't even like rare steak though. It's too like chewy.
Yeah.
You know? It's too much.
Yeah.
I feel like people who order like big, like people who go to a restaurant and order like the biggest fucking steak they have, like as rare as possible, are like trying to prove something to someone.
Yeah, no, they're trying to be like, yeah, look at me. I eat raw fucking meat. I'm such a man.
Yeah. Because it's like, that's kind of...
Yeah, that's actually pretty fucking gross. That's grosser than me eating raw eggs for 2 months.
Yeah. But...
Yeah, no.
It's crazy.
I know kind of like with a ceviche, when you put the citrus in it, because that's just raw fish. And you
with an acid.
Yeah, and you squirt, like, I think it's like lemons and lime juice over it and stuff like that. The citrus kind of in its own way cooks the fish. Not like cooks it, but a chemical reaction happens where like the fish is like now like safer to eat than eating it just raw now.
Yeah. Do you think sushi grade means like anything with like a fish? If you get something that's like sushi grade at the market,
it might mean something to a sushi chef, but I don't think that really means anything to me.
I don't think sushi chefs are going to like Market 32 for like their fish.
Yeah,
they probably get it from like a known source.
They probably like go somewhere where like I know like did you ever see Jiro Dreams of Sushi?
No. Is that an anime?
No. So it's a doc about, I think it has the highest Michelin rating you can get is 3 stars, right? So there's like this little
which by the way, same company as the tire company.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Sorry, really quick side note. Yeah. Michelin tires started making like a campaign where they would go to restaurants. They released like a magazine where like, oh, our car has Michelin tires and we drove to this restaurant.
Oh, I was going to say, look where our tires can take you.
Yeah, it kind of was like that. And it was for like employees, and I think they started saying it to other people, but they would review stuff.
Oh, was it like an employee magazine thing?
I'm not sure if it was a 100% employee magazine, but basically they were like, oh, in our magazine, we just do like a little fun thing where we go to restaurants. And now that's the number one the number one rating you can get as a restaurant is a Michelin star. Even 1 is a complete, absolute honor to get.
3 is the highest.
3 is the highest.
So,
but it's the same company as the big fat tire guy.
I didn't know that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought it was like just like they happen to have similar names. Yeah, no, it's literally the same people who put those sweet tires on your car. They're also like, you should go to this sushi restaurant.
We know 2 things: tires and food.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
So it's called Jiro Dreams of Sushi. I think it's on Hulu still. It's like this tiny little like hole in the wall place in Japan. I think it's literally on the way when you're going into a subway.
Okay.
This old dude named Jiro, he like owns the sushi. He's the owner and the chef, the head sushi chef,
right,
at this restaurant, and he has 3 Michelin. I think he has 3 Michelin stars for his. But to him, like sushi's like, it's like the highest form of art.
Yeah, it is a form of art, really.
And he talks about like, you know, how like important it is to like keep sushi as like simple, but in that simplest form, it like says so much, sort of thing. It's really fascinating to watch.
I'll definitely watch it because I love.
Did you watch Documentary Now? Did you see all of them? Did you see the one where it's the restaurant up in like the mountains of like Argentina or whatever?
Yeah.
And he like,
I think it was Peru where they
and it's like he only serves chicken, rice, and bananas.
Yeah.
So that's
and he has to catch the chicken each day, or else they don't open.
He's making fun. That's what they're joking off as Jiro.
Okay.
Jiro Dreams Sushi, because he has 2 sons. He has 1 older son and 1 younger son, and the older son works with him at his sushi restaurant, and he's always like, he's constantly making like sushi for his father. So like, and he's not like a young person. He's like in like his 50s. His dad's like in his 80s.
Yeah.
He's like in his 50s and 60s. And he's like making sushi for his dad, and he's like giving him to try, and he's like, no, that's still not right.
You can never please a perfectionist though.
Yeah. And so he's been working with his father like literally like every day since he's been legally allowed to work in Japan at this restaurant. He has a younger brother who somehow figured it out, and he has his own sushi restaurant in Japan, which is like another like, which is like kind of like another like high like rated sushi place.
Mm-hmm.
And like throughout like the doc, it's like it's talking about like, you know, his art form, how he sees like sushi as an art form, but also it's like he's like, my youngest son like can figure this out, no problem. He's like, my oldest son can't seem to get his shit straight, and he's like worried. He's like, I'm an old man. He's like, I'm going to die soon. He's like, my second son isn't gonna own this restaurant because he owns like a really big fancy like sushi place,
right?
He's like. And I can't knowingly give this business over to my first oldest son, knowing that he cannot perform the same way that I can.
That's like intense to be his son and be like, I'll never be good enough to.
Exactly.
And you've done it your entire life.
And similar to what happens in the documentary now, he has a heart attack and he can't go because he literally goes into work every day.
Yeah.
He has a heart attack and he's like out. And he's like, his son steps up and he's like, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. I'll run. He does the same. His father would like ride a bicycle to this fish market every day, find like the right fit. Like he like literally like he goes through this whole process of like touching it, looking at it, smelling it. Mm-hmm. And then like puts it all in like an ice pack on his bicycle and rides it back to the restaurant. And then like they go through this whole process of like making the rice and like making sure like they cut the fish like the correct way and everything. Mm-hmm. And when his father comes back, he's like, yeah, no, he did a good job. He's like, I don't think at the end of it, he said, I feel confident enough to give my son this restaurant, but he's like, he has progressed so much more than
since the beginning of this filming. Yeah. Wow. That's great. That's really cool. I mean, I feel really bad for his son.
That's the Japanese for you though.
Yeah. They're very hard workers. I mean,
and like, yeah, like
that's tough.
You like, that's what I have to say. I think about like Japanese culture where it's like, whatever you do, you have to perfect it to its highest form. And anything less than that is unacceptable. And the fact that like your oldest son,
that's why they're ahead of us.
Yeah.
Like technology and stuff.
Like the fact that your oldest son does like so well and it like, not as well as you, but he's like really good. But he's not as good as you, and you don't feel confident in like handing your restaurant over. And like you'd rather close the restaurant than let your son run it.
Yeah, I mean that's really sad.
That's pretty crazy.
That does speak to like Michelin stars, though. Mm-hmm. They generally do give them to people who only do one thing, and they just do it really well. Yeah, they don't try to branch out too much. Like the first food truck who got a Michelin star was in the UK. In the southern UK, and okay. It's a fish and chips truck. That's all they do. It's fish and chips, and they have the malt vinegar on the. That's all they do, but I guess it's really good, and they have one Michelin star, which is still like.
Wow. I mean, that's impressive.
It's a super high honor, and the first food truck too, to do that, and they just do the one thing. Michelin loves like that kind of stuff where it's like hole in the wall. We do one thing, and we don't try to, because the problem with a lot of restaurants is they try to do too much. They try to like take on too much, and you can either do one thing really well, or you can do a bunch of things
like okay.
Yeah. It can still be really good, but you'll never have the energy to focus on your one thing as much. That's what like a lot of food trucks do super well
because like, they have like their own little thing that they're doing.
Yeah, because they only have the capacity to really do a few menu items. Only
so much. Yeah.
They can't realistically do like a full menu, but they end up perfecting that one thing. It's kind of what the movie Chef is about. Like, yeah, he just makes cubanos. Yep. Really, but like they're so good that they become a huge thing. Yeah, and
that's based off. It's technically it's not the same, but he based the idea off of I don't know if the chef Roy Choi.
Roy Choi, yeah, he has the food Momofuku.
His I forgot what his food truck. I think his food truck was called Kogi or something like that. He did like a Korean.
It's Korean Latin American.
Yeah,
it's
a Korean Latin fusion because he was doing like Korean barbecued tacos and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it was like he was doing like a combination of like those two things where it's like a lot of the dishes are like, you know, Latin inspired, but what's inside of them is Korean. Sort of thing.
His restaurant only seats 12 tables.
Oh, really?
And it's kind of like a lottery to get like a reservation.
Oh, damn.
And his own parents couldn't even eat there until like after a year of them being open because it was so
Holy shit.
Like, it's so hard to, like, and people will get reservations and, like, bid them online, like, sell them off to people to try to get, like.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's only a 12 table
yeah. I think
restaurant.
his food truck's still around, but I don't think he's on it anymore. He's got some people on it.
Yeah, he has 3 food trucks in LA.
Yeah.
And they're all, but he goes to every one of them each night.
Oh, to make sure, like.
He does the restaurant. He has 2 restaurants, and then he goes and he checks in on every single food truck every single night that they're working.
And I think before COVID, I think a year or so before, he opened up a restaurant in Vegas called Best Friends or something like that.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, but that was like he served like a lot of like I think like it's like fast food stuff that he was doing. He was doing like a lot of like hot dogs and hamburgers and
Probably
stuff.
amazing though.
It's probably cool, yeah. It's like in a casino, and it's like you have to walk. I forget where he did. He like put it in like behind something, and it's like you wouldn't know it was there unless like you walked all the way through it,
Like a speakeasy almost.
Yeah, kind of.
The best restaurants in the world are in Las Vegas.
Oh, really?
In the entire world, like Las Vegas, because that's where everyone in the world comes to, like, you know, live like the high society life. It's kind of like the Dubai of America in a weird way.
I could see that, yeah.
So some of the best restaurants. I mean, the chef I work with says the best restaurants are in Las Vegas.
Damn.
Like the highest rated ones. That's kind of like my great uncle. It's my mom's uncle. Is that my great uncle or my second uncle?
Your mom's uncle?
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be your great uncle.
Whatever he is. His restaurant, there's a 7-year wait list because it's in Medusa.
Oh, okay.
Or Earlton. No, it's Medusa. Have you heard of the Basement Bistro?
Yes, I've heard of that place.
Yeah. It's 7-year wait list.
Didn't Obama go there?
No. That was like a rumor that people, like staffers, went there and said they were going to tell Obama about it, but he didn't go to it though.
Oh, okay.
Hugh Jackman went though, like 2 years ago.
No shit.
But he does everything himself. Like he's the server, the cook.
Oh, wow.
You bring your own wine and stuff, but he makes every ingredient by himself. Like he forages for like nuts in the forest behind his house, and he turns them into oils and flours, and that's the only oil and flour he uses. And he forages and like gets all of his own ingredients and stuff.
I see. I'm not ever gonna eat there then.
Yeah, he did that because of you. Expect no, but he does like just crazy shit like that. But that's a 7-year wait list.
Damn.
To get there.
That's pretty impressive.
And then it's like hundreds of dollars for like but it's also like a 4-hour experience. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Like,
it's one of those things where it's like
multiple courses. Like it's like a tasting menu, I think.
Oh, like where they give you little things, but at the end of it, you're definitely gonna.
You're full. Yeah. I mean, it might be more substantial, but it is like a multi-hour. Like, and he walks you through every single thing.
Okay.
Because he only has like a few. I've been down there. There's only a few tables down there. It's literally in his basement, which is really funny. Actually, I think it's just called Burrell now after him. I don't think it's called the Basement Bistro anymore.
Okay.
I think he renamed it, but it is in the basement of his house, and
that's pretty fun.
Goes like it opens at like 6 at night, I think, and he literally goes and like the one review I read in the New York Times, they went early and the gate was locked, and he went down there like in an apron and unlocked it, and he opened it. He's like, "Come on in," because it's like his terms, you know. But
that's his house too.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like Luke Hawley in Brooklyn, the dude who makes pizza.
Yeah,
he's open from 5 to 11, and it's like he only gives one reservation a day, and the rest is like you have to wait in line.
Yeah, he has like the one table in the back, right? That's for like the reservation table.
Yeah, he's got like one table. Yeah, that's like in the back. You know, he has like a little like backyard garden, I think.
Aren't people like lined up at the door for like hours to get that?
Yeah, they're literally lined up hours before it even opens just to try and get the one reservation. And then if you don't get the one reservation, I think you can like put your name down as like, because I think they only have like 12 tables in there.
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah,
I've seen the video on it.
I think it's like 12 tables inside, and I think they have like 3 tables in front of the restaurant.
Mm-hmm. We should try to go like this summer.
I'd go.
Just even if we have to wait like a long time.
I just want to try. Yeah, because he only does 3 things. He does pizza, calzones, and meatballs.
Right.
And I guess like he does it to like such perfection that like.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the video, he like is a master at like everything he does.
I think what the wildest thing is he's just like, I'm just doing like what my grandma told me.
Yeah, and he's like, I go to other pizza places, and he's like, oh, I wish they did this with their pizza. And he's like, oh, I just did that with my pizza. He wasn't even a pizza maker.
Yeah.
He just randomly bought the restaurant and was good at it.
Yeah, I know the restaurant that he has that. What the place that is his restaurant used to be a candy store when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to see it just go away, so he bought it, which is crazy.
And now it's like people think it's like the best pizza in all of New York.
Jay-Z and Beyonce went there.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
Jay-Z said on Jimmy Kimmel Live that the best pizza in all of Brooklyn is his place. Yeah. Imagine having a place that Jay-Z said is like the best.
Well, he's got to come to my board game cafe.
Yeah.
And see how he likes that. Best board game cafe in upstate New York.
What's your favorite, Mr. Jay-Z? What's your favorite board game cafe? Oh, Luke's by far.
Board game by Luke.
Board game by Luke. Yeah,
that won't be what's called, but something of the same. But you want to go to an ad break?
Yeah, we'll do a little.
And
break
we're gonna talk Godzilla and Kong, baby.
That little chestnut.
That little chestnut of failed dreams. And we're back. Hope you enjoyed that ad that you probably heard 5 times now. It's the same one.
Thanks, Anchor.
Thanks, Anchor. Thank you. Thanks, Daddy, for sponsoring the podcast.
We have enough money now to buy a coffee.
Yes, we've officially made enough for a small coffee.
Yeah. That Luke and I have to share, but
we will.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not cold by the time we get it.
We just put 2 straws.
It won't be we'll get 2 large straws and plastic because we don't care about the ocean anymore, and just put it right in the middle of us.
Well, now that you told me it's all fishing nets, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna start throwing car batteries into the ocean now.
Wait, you weren't putting your car batteries in the ocean before?
No, I was lighting them on fire, actually.
Listen, it's free to get your car battery changed at Walmart if you buy a new one there. What do you think those guys are doing with the car battery?
In the ocean.
They're definitely like have an ocean guy that they call just to throw it in there.
We know a guy with a boat. He's gonna come here and take all the car batteries and he's gonna throw them in.
Speaking of Walmart auto services, can I put them on blast really quick?
Go ahead. They're not sponsoring the podcast.
Yeah, fuck you. I pay $50 for the oil change for my car because I have to get the super premium for the Subaru. And on the services, it says that you pay for the oil change and the filter, and they vacuum your carpets, and they wipe your windshield, and they check your headlights, and they check your wipers, and they do all this shit, right? And so I go to get my oil changed, and my wipers were not working. And I knew what the problem was. The bolts just needed to be tightened because when it snowed, the bolts came loose. Okay. So the wipers were working. You just needed to tighten it. I didn't have the tools here at my apartment to do it. So I asked the guy, because it says on the website that they check your wipers. I was like, oh, I don't know if it's extra or not, but can you just I know you check the wipers to see if they work. Can you just tighten them so they'll work better? And he's like, no, we don't do that here. I'm like, okay. So I wait there for 2.5 hours for my oil to be changed. Yeah, because there's only so much. There's so much you can do at Walmart for 2.5 hours. Sit outside the picnic table and stew in your anger, or go to Panera Bread. So they get my car done, and I get my car, and I check the bill, right? That says that they show you each thing that they check off that they did, and it's vacuum or carpets vacuum, check. Windshields wipers checked, check. Windshield wipe, check. They checked off all this shit, and they didn't do fucking anything that I paid for. But they wrote down that they did do it.
So even your car wasn't even vacuumed or anything?
Nothing was done. Nothing was done. I don't even know if they changed my fucking oil at this point. I think they just are we got his credit card information.
If we let this sit here for 2 hours, it'll look like...
And slap a sticker on the windshield that says, come back in 5,000 miles. Is that not fucking ridiculous?
Honestly, I feel only dirtbags work in that that Walmart mechanic shop. And it's the assholes from high school. We all know who I'm talking about. You visualize what I'm saying. The dirtbags from high school that don't seem to wash at all. And they're they do mechanic stuff for fun. That's what they find fun. Those are the dudes that work at Walmart.
Yeah. Well, I will say I've had very good experiences there before, because that's usually where I get my oil change. Maybe I shouldn't anymore. I probably won't after this. But I just couldn't believe that the guy was like, "Oh, we don't do that.
We don't
here.
do that," and he checks it off.
And then they checked off that they did that. It's like, why the fuck am I paying $50 for like the premium pit crew service when your premium pit crew is just like dicking around for like 2.5 hours? I was the only car there.
And it took 2.5 hours?
I was the only fucking car there. They were working on one other car before they brought my car in.
Something must have been wrong with that car.
The car beforehand?
Yeah, it took 2.5 hours.
Fucking maybe.
There might have been like snakes or something in there.
Yeah. So then I brought it to the Subaru dealership to get them fixed because I just like don't have the bolt size, and I paid like a fuck ton for the warranty on my car anyway. And then the lady's like, "Oh, your warranty doesn't cover it, so it's gonna be like $200
to tighten some bolts."
Okay, yeah. So and she's like, "Because we might have to get replacement parts and stuff, and you might have to leave it here overnight. Do you have a ride?" I was like, "What the fuck?"
I was like, "Ma'am, I need a fucking socket wrench." Like,
so what happened was I was being very polite, right? And by the way, my warranty not covering this is the biggest fucking bullshit ever because I paid thousands of dollars for this warranty.
Yeah, I paid when I got my new car. They convinced me to get $1,000 warranty from, I forget how long it lasts.
It's 4 years or 40,000 miles.
Yeah,
I
something
think.
like, yeah, and it's like we'll cover if anything.
It's
like
bumper to bumper.
Yeah, that's what
the windshield wipers are inside the radius from one bumper to another.
From the front to the back, they are in there. Yes.
Oh, sorry. We only mean on like the level of the bumpers. We don't mean like if we were talking x-axis. You didn't pay for the y-axis treatment. But she's like, it's not going to cover it. I'm at that point. I'm just like, it's going to snow on Thursday. I fucking need my windshield wipers to work because I can't drive in the rain anymore with no wipers.
Yeah,
this is dangerous. Shouldn't have done it in the first place, but Papa's got to work. So, two people interrupt her while she's talking to me. Like, literally just walk up in front of me and start talking to her. One guy is like, "Oh, my brake fluid isn't working. I don't have brakes in my car right now." Don't know how the fuck he got there, by the way, but his brakes aren't working. And she's like, it's clear she talked to that guy before. And she's like, "Sir, you drive a Toyota. That's a different dealership." And then another guy came in and he's like, "I have a 2:00 appointment. I talked to you on the phone." And she's like, "I haven't talked to anyone on the phone today about an appointment." And I was the 2:00 appointment. So clearly he didn't have a fucking appointment. She was so fed up with these people. She was like, "Bob, come here." And she's like, "Go look at his wipers." And he goes and looks at that, like the mechanic guy. And he's like, by the way, not wearing a mask. Whatever. I need this done. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I can fix that." He's like, "Okay, they work." And she's like, "Do you need anything else?" I was like, "No, that's literally it."
Can I get the last 2 hours back by any chance?
I was only there for like half an hour, but
okay.
But she was like, "All right, Merry Christmas. Just drive to the garage door and it'll open for you." Didn't take the tag out of my window. Didn't take it like any information. I didn't have to sign anything. She was just so fed up from other people that day. It was like a Monday. She's like, "Get the fuck out. Like, I don't care. I don't care all what any of this costs."
A dude whose car isn't even of the same brand that the dealership is.
Yeah, she was like, he's trying to get us to give him a rental car and then buy a new car. But she's like, the Toyota dealership is like not connected to this dealership. It's a completely different thing.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Anyway, that was I forgot to tell you about that.
Holy fuck.
But
oh my God.
Yeah.
My brakes aren't working, sir. You have a Toyota.
I think like boomers just have this thing where they think if they complain enough about something that they'll get their way. Like if they like Karen out, that they're so used to like corporations just like bending the fucking knee to them that if you bitch enough, you can have a Toyota and Subaru will give you a new car.
I think they come from an age when they were children, their parents, like if something was wrong, you could like mail it back to the factory and they would like send you a new part, even though it took 3 months by carrier pigeon. But like they were like, that's how businesses should work,
Yeah. But also modern businesses are so eager to please people to get good like reviews and stuff.
And
like,
also clearly
online,
people like just get the fuck out of my face. Like, "Oh, we'll do it for free."
Yeah, it's easier just like to placate these people than to like like have to deal with them, even like have them cause a stink to corporate and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the right mix of businesses will do anything to make someone happy, and boomers will throw a big enough fit in order to be made happy. But I mean, we talked about that a little bit last week too.
Yeah, you know what that kind of reminds me of a little bit is this
you fucking accuser.
You this guy we work with, his name's Joe. He doesn't work for the same production company I do. He does his own thing, but we co-work together from time. He's a really cool guy. He was telling us the story. He has Spectrum, like a lot of people around here, and he's like, I used to pay. He's like, I don't know why, but he's like, every month I would go to the Spectrum headquarters in Albany or whatever, and I would go to the window and I'd pay my bill in check in person. He's like, don't ask me why. He's like, everything else I do is like auto pay off my card. He's like, I go in person to. He's like, I get there. He's like, I get there, and there's 10 people in front of me in line, and they're all like extraordinarily elderly people. And this one guy, he's like, this one old guy was, he was like complaining about like, I don't know, he was like trying to pay.
My Netflix password doesn't work.
Yeah. He was trying to like pay his bill, or he was saying something. I don't know. I think it was just with like his TV. He's like, it's not working. It's not working. They were trying to sell him internet, even though he was complaining about his TV.
They will always try. I literally have a stack of envelopes over there of them trying to sell me cable with my internet package.
And I guess it got to the point where they're like, is it your internet problem? He's like, and they're like, we'll give you a modem. He's like, I don't need a modem. I just want my TV fixed.
Sir, that's not us at all. Oh my god! You know what that reminds me of? I know we're diverging a little bit, but
that's whatever.
Yeah, fuck it. It's our podcast. Do you ever see that video or like videos of people who get parking tickets that they think are bullshit or speeding tickets, and they pay in pennies?
Yeah,
and they'll bring like buckets of pennies and just dump them
on the counter.
On the counter, like motherfucker. Yes. Pennies are U.S. currency, and theoretically, you can pay for anything in pennies, right? But it is the clerk didn't give you the parking ticket.
That's the thing. It's like this lady who's at the counter, and like the dude that has to come and count these pennies. These aren't the people that gave you the ticket.
Yeah,
it's like it'd be one thing if like the cop who wrote the ticket for you has to count these fucking pennies, and you're like, here you go, write me a ticket again. But it's like you're not. You're not. Who are you showing? Like who?
You're making a statement to no one.
Exactly.
You're screaming into a wall.
Yeah.
Like if you think that you dumping you're ruining someone's day. Because if that's how you're paying, then I guess legally they can't deny that, right? I mean, I've seen videos of like people like try to as pranks buy like art and stuff in like rooms full of pennies. And like they just say no.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? It's U.S. currency. They're like, no, we're not taking pennies.
I know. Yeah, I know there was one video I saw where the guy paid in pennies, and she's like, we can't accept that. He's like, it's a U.S. currency. You have to accept it. And then she was like, okay, fine. And like they ended up just counting. But you have to sit there for the entirety of them counting the pennies to make sure that you've paid like the entire amount.
Yeah. So and well, if you're like 5 pennies short.
Yeah. So they're sitting there counting all your pennies that you just handed them. So it's not like you just throw. It's not like you throw a 1,000-pound bag of pennies at this person's head, and you're like, "Count this, fucko, haha," and then like you walk away. You have to sit there the entire time they're counting these fucking.
You're
pennies.
wasting your own fucking time too.
So at that point,
plus you have to get the right amount of pennies together to give them.
Who the fuck has that many pennies?
You have to like collect them.
You have to go to the bank and ask for all the pennies.
And that's another person's day you're ruining. So this fucking guy got like a $200 parking ticket. And he's like, wow, what a waste of my time. So I'm going to go to the bank and get $200 worth of pennies. So that's 200 times 100. That's 20,000 pennies, right?
Yeah.
That's 4 zeros. Yeah, 20,000 pennies, okay. So you get 20,000 pennies from the bank, which definitely doesn't even have them. So they have to back order you some fucking pennies to get.
Or you just keep going from bank to bank and being like, hey, I'll give you this much cash for that.
For all your pennies.
For all your pennies.
Yeah. So you waste like the majority of a day, maybe even 2 days, getting pennies. Then you bring them to this lady who has no fucking idea who you are or why you were ticketed. And then you pay in pennies. So she has to spend an entire fucking afternoon counting your pennies while you sit there in the lobby waiting for her to deal with your bullshit. All to make a statement to a cop who probably doesn't even know this happened.
Yeah.
Who will never know.
There's probably some Dunkin' Donuts at that point, like drinking a coffee, if they're a meter maid. Like, they're probably just, like, walking around somewhere.
And someone who's willing to do all this bullshit, like, waste so much of their time and everyone else's time to make, like, a public statement, probably deserved a speeding ticket in the first place.
Yeah.
That's definitely the kind of person who cuts you off and flips you off, like, after doing it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to pay in pennies, I mean, I hope this dude brought a book.
Asshole.
Like, I bet you it was, like, funny for the first, like, 10 minutes, and then he's like, oh, wait, I have to sit here for, like, 3 hours. And
yeah. And then all the people behind you in line.
Yeah.
Think of like how many, like that cop may have ruined your evening. Think about how many people's complete
disrupted a
days.
county's entire day.
Yeah. Like an entire system you've like completely upended.
You've literally thrown a wrench into the... and then this lady has to go home to a loveless marriage. And
yeah. Probably. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
probably 50% of marriages end in divorce in this country. So.
Yeah. I mean, if my husband... or my wife, or
look,
husband.
If I was that lady and I was counting fucking pennies all day, and I get home and my husband's like, "Why isn't dinner ready?" And also, I want to have sex tonight. I'll be like, "You can go fuck yourself, buddy." I was like, I was counting pennies.
There's
all day.
coppers on my fingers, motherfucker.
Yeah, my fingers literally turn green from how much
I would
copper.
choke him with pennies to death.
I'd murder him.
Yeah,
probably.
with a sock full of pennies.
Yeah, I'd beat him to death with pennies.
This is why we shouldn't have pennies anymore in this country anyway.
Yeah, isn't there like an idea of like
it costs more to make a penny than a penny is worth.
Isn't there like wasn't there like an idea of like having everything always round up to like fives, and then we'll just get rid of the penny and keep nickels as like the lower currency?
Yeah. I don't know why we don't fucking do that. Yeah. Canada got rid of their penny because they had the same problem.
It's pointless. My friend, her name's Rainey. We both took a public speaking class. Well, not wanted to. We had to take a public speaking class at Hudson Valley. And
never be the kid who's excited for the public speaking class.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And we had to give four like verbal reports to the class on different issues. And she decided to talk about the penny. And before class, she went into the classroom, and I think she had like 20 or 30 pennies and just threw them all over the floor in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And then she stood in front of the door, and as everyone was coming into the classroom, she watched to see if anyone would pick up any of the pennies. And then when she gave the report, she's like, I want you all to look on the floor right now. And she like looked, and everyone looked down, and there's like pennies everywhere. And she's like, I was watching all of you come in, and like you were sitting there. Not one of you wanted to touch one of those fucking pennies.
Yeah. That's actually really smart, like presentation. But it's so true. Like, and what would rounding things to like the nearest 5 cents mean? It literally nothing.
We have to pay 5 cents for paper bags at the grocery store now. So like, what the fuck?
5 cents is nothing.
Yeah.
Get rid of the fucking nickel. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Change is the most annoying fucking thing. Other countries have the right idea where everything is like a paper bill and not like this change rattling around in your pocket. If you have more than 75 cents in your wallet, it's like uncomfortable to even have in your fucking pants at that point. It's just a nuisance.
People throw pennies in the garbage too. There's like people would like literally like if they see pennies when they're sweeping up, they won't even take it out of like the dustpan. They would I think there was like they like did like a questionnaire with a bunch of people. They were like
maybe that's shitty of me, but I've literally done that before.
Throwing out pennies?
Yeah, if I find a penny like under the fridge and it's like gross, like I'm never gonna use this. I can't even put it in the change machine at the bank because it's so like
I vacuumed my room and accidentally sucked up pennies, and I'm like, I'm not even going to take that out of there.
Like a quarter, you're like, oh hell yeah, a quarter. I can actually use this.
Well, 4 of those, you have a fucking $1. You need 100 of those little fucks to get $1.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to have that like denomination, like, and like things are mostly rounded. Like things are like $2.99, you know? Would it really does it, if something's $2.99, do you give someone $3 or do you give them $2.99 exactly?
Give them $3.
And most of the time, you just leave the penny with them. Or if it's $3.01, they're like, "Oh, just don't worry about it," because it doesn't matter at all. You know, cash registers, I think it's like you can be like within $5 or something of like your daily like transactions or some shit like that. Some places even more or less, but.
Do you ever feel like an idiot when like, do you know they have that leave a penny, take a penny little thing in front of, and you go over by a penny, and then you take one of those pennies and you hand it to them, and they look at you like, why are you touching that? Do you ever get that? I get that a lot. I feel like I'm always really nice to people who are like cashiers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I only get dirty looks when it's like, oh, it's 12:01, and instead of giving them $13, so they give them 99 fucking cents back, I'll take one of those pennies and hand it to them, and they'll look like I like grabbed money out of their tip jar or something and like handed it to them to like pay for what I'm like, it's a fucking penny out of this leave a penny, take a penny thing.
Yeah.
Like
my guess is like the look of surprise is that it's a penny and they don't give a shit. Like whether like their drawer has the penny or not, they're probably gonna like end up putting a penny back in there anyway. Something.
I mean, I've had people who are like, I went like even like 10 cents over, and they'd be like, I think there's like 10 pennies here. I'll just put it in the machine. You don't have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. But like, I've had some people where like I hand them the penny and they're like, why would you touch that? Like it's like I jumped on the other side of the counter and started like messing with the cash register.
Also, pennies are so useless because you could melt down pennies and get more copper, I'm pretty sure, than like they're actually worth. Like in terms of like cents.
Are they still coated in copper? I thought they're coated in like zinc or something like that.
I could be completely wrong. I've seen a YouTube video on it before, but that's illegal. You can't deface U.S. currency legally. So like, you can't even like fucking do that like legally.
Yeah, no, there was...
Maybe it's just like the metal itself is worth... Because it does cost more to mint a penny. Mm-hmm. So I assume that like the value per penny is in the metal, right? Like that's where the cost comes from. Be, yeah. Like I guess also like pressing it and cutting it and stuff like that. But I would assume because it's like 1.7 cents for every penny, there has to be like some monetary value you could get just from like having that metal more than what it's actually worth to give that to a cash.
Copper is so expensive right now.
Copper is super expensive because it's like the best conductor for electricity.
Yeah.
Well, the most reasonable conductor. Technically, like, gold's like the best conductor. It's like in our phones and stuff.
But it's such like small amount. Like I feel like you probably find copper easier than gold.
Yeah, 100%. Also, like like those phone ATMs at like the mall. If you have like an old phone, you can throw your phone in there and they give you cash. It's because they take the gold out of your phone. Like they melt down like the circuitry. And I mean, there could be like other reusable things in there that they could sell back to companies or
like catalytic converters in your car are filled with platinum, right?
I don't know if it's platinum or silver.
I think it's some valuable metal that's like in there.
I don't really know a lot about cars. I know like 99% of silver in the world is used industrially in these huge blocks because it's just a crazy conductor.
Oh, no
for like
shit.
Industrial machinery and stuff. So like they'll have like big blocks of it that just conduct electricity because the more surface area something has, the more room like electricity has, like the less resistance it has. So if you make these big, like theoretically like huge wires, like on these microphones, the wires are huge, and that's because like so much data is being transmitted. You kind of need a big wire, like coaxial cables and stuff. It wouldn't really work with like a thin USB. That's why it's XLR. Because I don't think it's extra large, but
no. My coworker explained an XLR cable. It's like because there's 3 prongs in there that it's connected to, and when we speak through here, the audio goes through as an electrical signal,
right?
And it with the 2 prongs, it like flips it. It like inverts the signal,
okay,
and then when it gets to here, it reflips it back again. So it's I don't know. It's like something like
kind of like camera.
It's like an efficiency sort of like thing or something like that.
Yeah, I assume one of the prongs is to ground.
The third one is to ground for it to be grounded,
or else like the voltage would be like because your the waves like your amplitude of your voice is in volts. You know, so like the camera or the microphone picks up our sound waves and that's voltage. And then I assume the flipping back would be transferring back into a P wave file into the computer. But I know that ground, I didn't know, I fucking go to school for electrical engineering, and I didn't even know until like 2 years ago that a ground literally meant like that it went to the ground for like a lot of things.
Oh, okay.
Like in your sockets on the walls, the hole on the bottom is the ground
because just sends it down into the...
Because most houses are, the ground wire is literally in the ground because that's a 0 voltage source. So it's at the baseline. In case there's any extra voltage,
it just goes out there.
It goes to there. So that's why if your electricity in your house is all fucked up, they probably didn't install the ground properly. A lot of times they fill it in with gravel, and that's not good because it's like loose in like the air. But I thought that was pretty interesting.
Damn.
But anyways, you want to talk about Godzilla and the monkey?
Yeah. Big monk. Yeah.
So what do you... So you're like the biggest Godzilla fan I know.
I love Godzilla.
And it's safe to assume you're also a pretty big monkey fan?
I do like King Kong a lot, yeah.
So how do you feel about them fighting each other?
It made me sad.
Sad because they didn't like each other, or sad because you were disappointed by the movie?
I said they didn't like each other. Also, the movie was kind of lacking. No, I was super excited. I don't know. Were you with me? Were you with us when we saw the first Godzilla movie with Bryan Cranston and?
I only watched all of them very
the other
recently.
day? Okay. I remember I freaked the fuck out in I think it was 2014, so I was a senior in high school.
They've been doing these for a while.
Yeah, I remember I lost my mind when I saw Bryan Cranston. They were remaking Godzilla, and Bryan Cranston was going to be in it, and I was like, "Holy shit! They're making another Godzilla movie."
Which was probably the worst one out of all of them. The first Godzilla.
You know what? Looking back on it, it's probably the weakest in monster fights, but what I do appreciate about that one is that they did try to ground it in like reality.
Right.
Where
can I ask you something about like the lore quick?
Yeah.
So in the first one, these are all like pretty fresh in my memory because I literally watched them all last week and then watched Godzilla vs. Kong. Which, by the way, do you want to hear my girlfriend's review of it really quick?
What did she say?
She said, I didn't know that Donkey Kong movie we watched just came out. I love her, but that was really funny.
That's awesome.
I know that Donkey Kong movie just came out. But if she listens to this, she's gonna be mad at me.
Oh yeah. But that's really funny. Actually.
But what the fuck was I even saying? Oh, so did she just yell from the other room?
I think I heard so, yeah.
So the Titans, right? The monsters, I guess.
Yeah.
Were they formed from nuclear radiation, or were they ancient beings that were always on Earth?
In the MonsterVerse thing, in the
new ones,
in these new ones, all the Titans or all of them are much more ancient creatures than dinosaurs.
Even Godzilla?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think in the first Godzilla movie, they claim the reason why dinosaurs went extinct was because of the Titans.
Okay.
Was like with all the like King Kong, like Godzilla went like nuclear and like laid waste to like the entire planet.
Okay. Because he's like the king of monsters.
Yeah.
Because I feel like after watching the first movie, they kind of implied that the nuclear bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki kind of gave him power.
So they
I know it awakened him.
in the first one, yeah, they said that when they got bombed, actually hold on. I'm trying to think. It was either they claimed that when we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, he woke up, or when we were doing nuclear tests in the Pacific. That's when we accidentally.
It was one of those events, definitely.
Yeah, it's one of those things which they're very close in happening.
And then there the mantis or
The Mutos.
Yeah, the Mutos. They were awoken by a nuclear power plant in Japan.
Yes, yeah. There was it was a power. Yeah, in the first one, yeah, it was a power plant. I don't know if it was a reactor meltdown, or if it was starting to eat the power plant, which caused the reactor meltdown.
I think that it caused the reactor meltdown, like the egg, basically that they found like underground. But after the first movie, I thought that it was the radiation that created these monsters, and then they kind of go back. They kind of make it seem like that, and then they go back into like, oh, they've always existed, and then the radiation kind of just woke them up for the first time because now they can feed on the surface.
Yeah, because the Monarch organization is like they've been like tracking the monsters for like years and stuff like that. So that first, they claimed, so it's essentially Godzilla gets rewoken from the nuclear testings and stuff like that,
right?
And the bombings.
And then he only comes up because the Mutas are about to take over.
I guess at some point they claimed in Godzilla's like millions of years ago, Godzilla and the like Mutos are like it's like Godzilla's food or something like that, or like he just hunts them for fun.
Well, he wants to. So okay, they kind of explain in the new movie that Godzilla like wants balance and like to be the alpha, and they lay like so many eggs and stuff like on the nuclear like missile that they would just like take over.
Yeah.
So he tries to kill them off because they're like evil and he's good. I guess it's kind of what they're implying. It's very weird, but
yeah, I think in these movies they're implying that Godzilla is like the equalizer. He's like,
Yeah.
he tries to keep everything in a balance.
because King Ghidorah, King Ghidorah, is an alien
Yes,
that came to Earth. So the whole point of King of Monsters was that they're trying to awaken the monsters to restore like the balance.
Yeah,
but they don't realize King Ghidorah is not originally among them.
yeah,
And
so,
that fucks everything up.
yeah. So in the Godzilla King of the Monsters, I guess they start talking about how after all the fights Godzilla had with the Mutos, all the cities like. It's like the plant life like just like went out of control and just like took over the cities.
Right.
So they were claiming that like these like battles for dominance between the Titans are like
a restorative process.
Yeah, they're like
on Earth.
rejuvenating the planet.
So we both agree the first one's the worst out of the new ones. Or do you not think so?
I think this one's probably the worst.
Really?
Yeah.
I think this one was better than the first one.
I think so. I going back and looking at it,
What's your favorite one?
my favorite one's probably just is probably King of the Monsters because of all the monsters that are in it.
Okay.
That's my
So
favorite.
for like a fan,
Yeah.
that's like
That one
the one to watch.
I like the best because I mean you get Godzilla, you get King Ghidorah, you get Mothra, and Rodan, and then
Rodan was cool.
yeah, Rodan's a cool one.
I like that one.
I love I love Godzilla and Mothra. Those are my
You
two.
also got at the end, what was that one? There was like a Muta at the end, I think.
Yeah.
That like played like
Yeah, another one showed up. There was another Muto. There was a couple. There was a giant spider who
that was in Kong Skull Island. This tree spider thing.
that was like a mantis thing, or it might have been a spider. Yeah, but in the old movies, there was like a giant spider. I forget what that was called. So that showed up. There was one called Methuselah that was there, but that one was never in. That was like a new monster they created.
Yeah, they're just kind of showing.
Yeah. There's one. The one monster that didn't show up. I wish that did was that there was one called Anguirus, which is he's like this like
Is he the chainsaw stomach one?
no, that's Gigan.
Okay.
Who's like a cyborg alien also. So it's funny. I think Gamera was its own thing, but then I think it crossed over into Godzilla. So Gamera is like a turtle who
I've heard of Gamera, yeah.
who can like fly around and like he has like fire breath and stuff like that. But then there's this other monster called Anguirus who like is kind of like a turtle. He's more like an armadillo, I guess. But he's got like a giant spike back and like a rhino horn nose and a tail.
I think I've seen him too.
He's kind of like Godzilla's like partner also. But I think they imply like there was like an implication in King of the Monsters where when they go underground to set off that bomb to wake up Godzilla, you see a skeleton down there. So I think they were implying that Anguirus is dead. I don't know if he's ever gonna if they're ever gonna like bring that one back or whatever. I know Mothra died at the end of King of the Monsters, but she laid another egg. So
yeah, she helps him fight Ghidorah.
Yeah.
And like instills Godzilla
and the thing
with
with
the radiation.
Mothra is even though like the little caterpillar is like a newborn, it's a new Mothra. I think in like the
It's like a Phoenix situation where it's still Mothra.
In the lore of like the old like Mothra, it's like the sentience still or like the memories cross over to that.
So it's like a hive mind thing.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Can I tell you that I don't think I've ever watched. I maybe like when I was a kid, I watched like some of them. I think I watched like the Kong movie from like the 2000s, like King Kong movie, where they bring him to like New York or something like that.
The Peter Jackson one.
I think so. I maybe I watched it. But I haven't
with Jack Black.
I don't know if it is. I have to rewatch it. But I'm not really a fan of the series like to the level you are. I think my favorite one was from like a non-fan perspective was Kong Skull Island.
The Kong movie was really cool
because it was like an isolated story.
Yeah,
and first off, the cast was insane. You have Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston, yeah.
John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
Who was like the best character in that movie.
Yeah, he was funny. Yeah,
he's like, I just want like a hot dog and a beer at like Wrigley Stadium.
Yeah. He's like, I just want to watch a Cubs game.
Brie Larson was in it. Like they had like a crazy
Samuel
cast.
Jackson was in it.
Yeah, Samuel Jackson.
John Goodman.
It was a crazy cast. And they were all like, you cared, like the characters were good.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
You cared about them because their story wasn't like wasn't trying to like tie in to like the lore so much. It was more just like a survival story.
We're surviving, and there's all these. Yeah, that's the cool thing with Kong and Skull Island is like there's like all like these weird monsters on there,
right?
So you get to like play. You get to play in some more with like the giant monster trope and everything.
Yeah, but also you care more about the characters because
it's more of a survival thing than it is like.
The story is like baseline. It's not some wacky shit like let's try to revive this monster. It's just like, okay, Kong is actually the protector of this island, but we just need to get off the fucking island. Yeah. We don't really care about. And then Samuel L. Jackson is trying to kill Kong.
Yeah,
but that's like all that is, and they implied that he's still growing. He's like a baby, which is cool.
Yeah. Yep.
But so the new movie.
Yeah.
Basically. So you weren't a huge fan. I also wasn't.
So I wasn't a huge fan. Okay, so let's say things that I'll start with like my favorite things about it.
Okay.
I love that it really just there was a lot of just like monster fighting because that's what you want to see in a Godzilla movie.
That is something that I think both of us were looking more for.
Yeah.
Was just like cut most of the bullshit out and just show us King Kong and Godzilla fighting.
Which I think was cool. I think some of it got to, I think towards the end it was like, okay, this is just like what's going on. It's just like we're just carrying, this is just dragging on.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the cinematography or like the CGI for the Hong Kong,
that was cool with all the neon,
the city lights. Yeah, that looked really good.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was probably the best setting for like any of the fights in the movies.
That was probably like one of the better parts of. That was probably the best fight I think in the whole thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Before Mecha Godzilla shows up.
Yeah.
Just them going at it. Because that's all you want to see.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
You don't need to throw Mecha Godzilla in there.
Yeah, there's probably no. That would have been a cool like thing at the end, I think. If they
like a teaser.
Yeah.
I feel like the only reason they throw Mecha Godzilla in there is because they need these monsters to not kill each other because they're both fan favorites. And that's the only way they can get them to not kill each other.
Yeah.
Is to, because it wouldn't make sense if like King Kong, like, or Godzilla literally like fucking eats Ghidorah's head in King of Monsters.
Yeah.
Like the last head that's alive. He would not leave Kong alive if there was still. Oh, also it's Kong, not King Kong in this, right?
Yeah, he's not King Kong, no. I guess there's like I thought there was one point, because I realized they called him. They were calling him Kong throughout the whole. They don't call him King Kong.
And in Skull Island, they call him Kong as well.
Yeah, I guess also in like the old, like even like the black and white movie and the Peter Jackson one. On Skull Island, he's just called Kong. Mm-hmm. It's not until when they bring him to America to show him off, they're like, "Oh, we need to give him like a grand name. King Kong. We'll call him King Kong."
Okay, that makes sense.
I thought at one point there was a part where they go into like the
Hollow Earth,
and then he finds like the axe, and then he sits down on like that stone. It kind of looks like a throne, and I thought someone was gonna go, "He's King Kong," and I was waiting for that to happen.
I'm glad they didn't.
I'm glad they didn't, because I was.
They were heavily implying though that he was King Kong. Though I was
like, oh my god, that would have been like a eye roll thing. He's like, he's not Kong, he's King Kong, and it's like, oh motherfucker.
Yeah, that would have been a lot. But
that would have been a hard eye.
It was kind of a Kong movie, though.
Yeah.
With Godzilla in it, then focus on both of them, which I guess makes sense because we've already had 2 Godzilla movies and only one Kong movie.
And Godzilla in all those movies is always he's kind of the, I guess in a sense, the hero in all those movies.
Mm-hmm. But in this, he's kind of the bad guy, but you see why he's doing it.
They tell you like pretty much right off the bat why he's angry, but they don't do a good job of explaining. Okay, so here's where they did a bad job.
Yeah.
This was the one movie where it probably could have used a little bit more human interaction in it, because like in the first Godzilla, it's more like you're just following you're following Taylor Aaron Johnson. Quicksilver, Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
Who he's a bomb expert. And it's essentially like him. He accidentally is like pulled into all this stuff with Godzilla. You're seeing like you're getting all the information from his perspective, pretty much. Then in King of the Monsters, you have 11 from Stranger Things, and then
her mom and her dad.
Her mom and her dad, and then her dad with Monarch, and then her mom who went with Tywin Lannister to do bad stuff. Through them, they kind of explain like why Godzilla is doing this, why King Ghidorah is doing that sort of thing. That's where you get like the explanation of like how like these like the monster verse thing works.
Yeah.
In this, it's like they had that, but they're like, let's let them do as little as possible.
Right.
Which would have been fine in a sense if like what little they did is possible, like provided you like just tons of exposition.
Right. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Because the level of human story in this was for the first time acceptable, I feel like. The level of like, we just really want to see the fucking monsters fighting. And when you do put human expository dialogue in there, make it like short and sweet, and they just tell you kind of what's happening.
Yeah.
They beat around the bush so much.
Yeah, they kind of were just there throughout the whole thing. And it was like, at that point, just throw all that away. Because, like, nothing you told me was of suitable
Just show, like, news reports of, like, what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even need, like...
Because, like, first off, Godzilla's like, they show you, like, little, like, the news clips in the beginning of, like, the little, like, montage. And then, but you don't understand why Godzilla's like attacking everything, and then he attacks like that the Apex Cybernetics place in Florida, and then the dude with the podcast sees like that ball,
that whole fucking thing,
sees that ball in there, and then he's like, oh, that's what's making Godzilla mad. But then like throughout the movie, they're like, the reason Godzilla is fighting for so much dominance is that they know he's trying to be replaced. And I was like, wait, he knows he's trying to be replaced? Like, I don't think that's Godzilla's... Like, they were just like, we're going to go full-blown crazy pants with this movie.
Yeah. With, like, Mecha Godzilla, who was the point at the end.
So then, they throw in Mecha... It's because they're building Mecha Godzilla to kill Godzilla so that humans can be the dominant species again on Earth.
It'd be one thing if, like, he just knew that Kong was, like, there and was going for Kong, so he wouldn't be... So he was the alpha.
Yeah.
Because Kong doesn't bend to, like, anyone, I guess.
Yeah.
And, like, the whole movie was, like, that. But they kind of, like, throw Kong in there, like, in a weird way. Like, let's find the Hollow Earth. And, like...
Yeah, well,
Godzilla just happens to show up, even though he's focused on a different thing. Yeah.
So the whole reason they have to get to the Hollow Earth is because the dude from Apex Cybernetics is like... he convinces the one dude, the one guy... he's like, oh, all your research is right about the Hollow Earth. He's like, we'll go down there. But in reality,
that's what fuels Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, but in reality, he doesn't give a fuck about this dude's research. He's just trying to find the power source to power up Mecha Godzilla.
Right.
And
they use Kong for that.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, like how like animals know how to like go, how like salmon spawn back upstream. I think they said like they know to swim upstream to the spawning grounds. He's like, oh, King Kong would be able to know to go back to like the hollowed earth or whatever.
Do you know what was weird too about like that whole thing is in like the previous movies, Kong is a giant fucking monkey, you know, or gorilla, you know, and he has like emotion, but in this one they make him like faux human in a weird way. Like he can speak with sign language, which is like not completely out of left field because like
we've taught gorillas.
We've taught them how to do that before, you know, and we can assume that he's an intelligent creature.
His favorite word is home, though. So.
Yeah. But he, especially when he gets to the Hollow Earth and he picks up the fucking axe, where I don't know where the fuck that axe came from or who invented it. But so it's not a gorilla, it's a Neanderthal at that point because it's using tools.
Yeah, he's so smart. And also there was like a door to like the whole...
Yeah, so the ones before him have
like,
constructed a palace.
Yeah, I was like, holy fuck. I was like, this is like a Monkey Kingdom kind of thing. Like,
right, so it's not a gorilla anymore. It's literally a pre-Neanderthalic human at this point who just happens to be huge.
Yeah.
Because he can use sign language so he can communicate his feelings and stuff and emotions and words in a way.
They made axes out of Godzilla's like dorsal fin and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
they have tools, which like monkeys can use like tools like when taught, but like he just like someone in his lineage has created this thing, and they have a huge kingdom that they rule in the Hollow Earth. So they were once an intelligent species, or still kind of are an intelligent species.
Yeah.
Like it's like, what the fuck are you going for here?
So I mean, I know with the Kong movie, they were kind of going off the similar thing with like in the old King Kong movies, where it's like there used to be a bunch of these giant gorillas, but he's the last one,
right? But now you're implying that all of them are at a level of like architecture and like craftsmanship, to where
that's the part that confused me, because in the Skull Island movie, it's implied that the skull crawler monsters, those snaky reptile thing, it was him and the other giant apes like him,
right,
were able to suppress those monsters, like keep a healthy balance in the ecosystem with like, because without Kong, the skull crawlers would kind of overtake everything, and at least with Kong there, he keeps them in check. And then I think it's implied in that movie that the skull crawlers have killed off all the other, and
he's the last one.
He's the last one. He's the youngest one, and the only ones he fights are like the baby ones that hatch and stuff, and he's able to keep those under control. And then at the end of that movie, the giant one wakes up
and he fights that.
He fights it and he kills it. So that entire thing, they implied that they all got wiped out by these skull crawler things, and then in this one they're like, we have this whole giant underground like
Colosseum,
King Kong Kingdom, where. So, that gets weird. Also, what confused me is, like, in King of the Monsters, they go to the Hollow Earth, part of the Hollow Earth where, because they go deep under the sea where Godzilla has his lair.
Right.
And there used to be a whole city civilization down there that worshiped King Kong.
Well, it's the center of the Earth, right? It's under the magma because the gravity is flipped halfway through it. There's like, it's a complete spherical.
There's like an inversion or something like that.
Gravity inversion. Yeah. So it's implied that is the very middle of the Earth.
Yeah.
And it's implied that that's how Godzilla has been getting around so fast.
Yeah. That they implied that in MonsterVerse, because they're like, there's all these tunnels deep underground in the ocean that he can swim through to get to other sides. He's like, that's why he pops up everywhere so fast.
Right.
And they're able to get there in like a submarine. And they find him, and that's where they set off the nuke so that he can like absorb the nuclear energy to come back to life. In this one, though, they need like these special like crazy like spaceship that like can like, I don't know, like reverse like gravity. It's just like all gravity,
and they have like this trail of like
you have to go to like into like light speed to like get to the.
It literally looks like a Star Trek vehicle.
Yeah,
like they have like blue rings coming out. Like things that are not. Like when Iron Man does shit, at least it's like a flame kind of like plasma. Like that's like feasible, arc reactors. It's science fiction, but it's tasteful. In this, it's like, we've actually created a vehicle that literally like does not like follow the laws of like gravity and shit, like a spaceship.
Yeah, this one they went full crazy pants. Because like I said, the first Godzilla, how you feel even if it's probably the weakest Godzilla one in the aspect of like Godzilla movies. Because like every time you see Godzilla for the first time, they cut away to some boring human shit.
Yeah.
Which is whatever. But at least they keep it like
grounded
where they're like, okay, the military is dealing with this. What do we have? We have like jets and tanks. And we're going to shoot at these monsters, even though it's not working. And then you realize what it comes down to is like, we need the one to fight the other. And then whoever wins, the one will go away. But we need the Mutos to lose. Godzilla has to be the winner.
Right.
Then and then King of the Monsters, they get a little bit crazier where they're like, okay, Monarch has been studying all these creatures. They haven't gone super crazy as yet. They have that giant like flying like jet thing that the Avengers have. But that's whatever. And then
in this one, it's like crazy.
In this one, they're like, fuck it. We we know anti-gravity. We're making giant sentient robot lizards. Which would have been fun. I don't know. It could have worked. I don't know.
Just kind of fell flat.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's like a kind of a Kong movie with Godzilla in it. But Godzilla beats the shit out of Kong twice.
Yeah.
Godzilla, I guess, is the winner of it, right?
Godzilla wrecks his shit.
In terms of like them fighting. The first time they
once.
escape, and the second time he knocks him out cold.
Yeah.
And is about to kill him, and then Mechagodzilla shows up. Which I think was like, it's just whatever. I literally said this last week when we were talking about it.
Yeah,
I'm like, they're going to fight, and then Mechagodzilla is going to come, and they're going to team up.
I'm pretty sure me and you said the same thing, where it's like,
it's very obvious.
They're going to fight, and then there's going to be like a clear winner at some point, and then Mechagodzilla is going to show up.
Well, I didn't think there was going to be a clear winner. I thought maybe I said that last week, but I went into watching it, like, after watching the other ones after we filmed the podcast. I can't really remember exactly what I said, but I went into this one being like, I don't think there is going to be a clear winner at all. I think they're going to be fighting, and it's going to be almost clear winner.
I figured at some point, I think, I might have said in the last, I don't remember, but I think I said in the last one that I knew he was going to show up and they were going to have to team up together to fight him.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, essentially that happened.
I thought Kong was going to win, though. If one of them did win, I thought it was going to be Kong because it was so focused on him.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense that Godzilla did win because he is more powerful.
Yeah, he's the radioactive lizard. Like, he breathes fire. Like,
yeah, like he is more powerful than...
I mean, I know I can understand why they gave King Kong the axe.
So we can at least have a fighting chance.
Yeah. But even with that, I don't entirely understand, like, how his axe works. Like...
I think it's just a scale of Godzilla, like, or a creature that was
it's
before
like his
him.
Dorsal, and like he absorbs the energy from his atomic breath.
Because his scales are like what lights up with like the atomic energy.
Yeah,
so it makes sense that the axe would absorb that kind of.
Yeah, but then like there was that one point where he like had to like put the axe in the ground or something, and then like they all like lit up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about like? But what do you think about like the end, like where they beat Mechagodzilla and then they kind of just like have an understanding?
Yeah, they leave it like ambiguous where it's like Godzilla. I mean,
that's just setting up like another.
Yeah, they're leaving it where it's like, okay, we can do like more King Kong movies if we want. We'll do more Godzilla movies.
But they're okay with each other being there.
Yeah, and then at some point we'll have them fight again and we'll have a clear winner.
Or have them team up against like Ghidorah when he comes back.
Yeah,
or something
like that. Where it's like a bigger monster's going to come that one of them can't take on their own. And it's
they kind of also imply that Godzilla is like king of the surface and then King Kong will be king of like the hollow earth.
Yeah, so then at the end, they just bring King Kong back to the hollow earth. Yeah. Home. Yeah, he does the... And
he's like touching. I don't know. He's just like notioning something.
He does monkey stuff, you know.
Classic monkey.
Yeah, monk. Yeah, and then he goes to the hollow earth and he's like down there bouncing around again. And I guess King Kong like stays up top or whatever. I was confused because like there was like stuff I didn't find. I mean, you know, it was okay. I thought it could have been better. I'm not too impressed with this movie.
My big problem with the ending is it's like every movie now, the ending has to fucking set up 20 new movies or else it doesn't count.
Well, there's
no definitive like...
This one was the first time where it kind of didn't, because at the end of all the previous movies, there was... So at the end of the first Godzilla movie, there was like... they found some images of like other you realize like other monsters exist. They found like pictures of Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, stuff like that. And then it's like, okay, that's setting up like a bigger thing,
right?
Where it's
the MonsterVerse,
like, where it's like we didn't, you don't know if they're gonna go on with this other movie, but they're saying, oh, all these other favorite monsters that you have, they exist. Mm-hmm. So you're like, okay, it's not just Godzilla. Then then I think Kong's the second one that comes out right before
Skull Island.
Yeah, Skull Island comes out before King of the Monsters, I think.
I watched it after, but it doesn't really matter.
I think chronologically when they were I think Kong Skull Island came out next. And then I think at the end of that, there's like the stinger is like they see a cave painting of Godzilla fighting Ghidorah. And then that's like kind of like the big like
yeah, I just watched it. I don't remember
That's
that
like
part,
I think that's like the big lead in for King of the Monsters, where him and King Ghidorah fight. And then at the end of that one, that's when they find a cave painting of Godzilla and King Kong fighting.
Yeah.
Where it's implying like they've had this rivalry for
a while.
Or
at least their ancestors did.
Yeah.
Because King Kong was still like a baby, like on Skull Island.
Yeah.
Which Godzilla couldn't get to, I guess. Because like the storm.
I guess because of the storm, or
just didn't know that Kong was there because he's not like radioactive.
Yeah.
Because he's also like a baby, I guess, and defending the island. But
yeah, and then in this movie they claim like Skull Island's part of the Hollow Earth, where he says like
they say that that's why they go there though in Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, because they think it's
that's why they drop the bombs.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this leads to a tunnel down to the
They said that the bedrock is hollow under it. And that's, And
then in this one, they're like, oh, it's part of the Hollow Earth. It's a part of the Hollow Earth that got pushed up to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it has all like these weird animals on here and
that's
stuff.
That's why it's like his home and stuff. Yeah. And it has like the storm around it.
Yeah, why he lives on it. Yeah.
But I feel like they are kind of like setting up like a bunch of movies. Because now it's like, oh, they get along. Yeah, and we can do a million things with that.
But this is the first one where they didn't have an end credit scene where they're trying to set up the next movie.
I did not know that any of these movies had end credit scene.
Oh, really?
I have not watched a single.
All the stingers at the end of these movies have something that are like, oh, this is going to lead into the next movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was confused about what you were talking about for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I guess I just don't remember that.
It's like the little Marvel MCU things after.
Yeah, I did not know they had.
Yeah.
As soon as the credits rolled, I just turned it off.
Yeah, so there was like little scenes after that where it's like there's more.
It didn't really matter for me because I watched them all like in a week. So
exactly. Yeah, so you didn't need to. But at the end of this one, there was nothing after the end credits.
Okay.
And this was the first, and the director said he did that on purpose because I guess the studio's like, I don't think they've been making like killer money on like this Godzilla franchise,
right?
But I think they've been doing like okay with it.
Mm-hmm. So it's up in the air, kind of.
So yeah, so they were like, this one is like we left it and we didn't leave a stinger at the end to set up the next movie because we don't know if there's going to be a next movie. Mm. And he said it's going to be up to like the fans or whatever, like how many people go out and watch it. I mean, as of right now, this is like the biggest box office. Like this is the biggest box office hit in like the past like year or so.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it had some hype around it.
Yeah, it's made.
We were
more,
definitely excited to watch it.
I mean, it made more money in the box office as of right now than Wonder Woman 1984 did. So
I still haven't seen that.
And so you don't bother. It's like it's way too long, and like it's just full of like Wonder Woman being like, why can't there be peace on this earth and stuff?
I probably won't watch it because I like the first one so much. Yeah. And I just don't want it to be ruined for me.
Also, like, not to like jump back and forth between the things.
Back in the end anyway.
Yeah, back in like in Dawn of Justice, Batman implies that the last time anyone's seen Wonder Woman was during World War I. Mm-hmm. And then in 1984, she's like going around saving people in Washington, D.C. And they're like, mysterious woman going around saving. And it's like, oh, so it's just like whatever.
Yeah.
They're just like doing whatever at this
point.
Fucking
whatever. But
yeah.
So final thoughts on Godzilla versus Kong?
I mean, if you have an HBO Max subscription, I guess watch it. It's free.
It's fun.
Yeah, no, it's fun. The human stuff is extra boring in this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was fine. It was okay. I think I was hoping for more.
I think there was too much hype over it. I think because it's like, oh shit, like Godzilla versus Kong, it's gonna be crazy.
Well, in reality, we've had like nothing come out in the movies. We've literally
that's also true.
We've literally gotten like nothing. There's been nothing.
The biggest thing is a movie we've all seen before just rehashed.
That happens to be 4 hours now.
But it's also a much better version.
Yeah, much better.
It literally saves that movie.
Yeah.
But that is kind of the biggest. Like, we've literally had nothing in terms, except for like Marvel shows. I know Falcon and Winter Soldier's out now.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, is actually pretty good so far.
Yeah. After the first, I wasn't too thrilled.
Did you watch the latest one?
Yeah.
That one was really good.
That was good. I wasn't too impressed with the first episode, but then the ones after that, I was like, oh, this is getting more and more interesting.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited to talk about that when it's all concluded.
Yeah, we talked about. I know in the last episode there was a little nod to the X-Men in that one.
Yeah, because they go to the place where Wolverine is always at. I can't remember
his favorite hangout, and the bar they go to is Wolverine's hangout.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's pretty. I didn't even realize
it's
that.
called like the Lovely something or the I forget what it had a goofy name.
Was that one lady supposed to be Silver Sable
at the end?
No, like that they had like the meeting with.
Oh, I don't know who she's. It wasn't. Was she supposed to be the power broker? Whoever they said they were looking for. Or?
Yeah, I know Silver Sable is from a one of those Marvel places that don't exist.
Isn't she one of like Spider-Man's things?
She's kind of like her own thing.
Oh, okay.
Like they fight sometimes, and then sometimes they don't. But
I know the girl who showed up at the end of that episode is supposed to be from Wakanda.
Yeah, I knew that. That's definitely not Silver Sable.
Yeah.
Because Silver Sable.
I thought that's who you were talking about. But
no, Silver Sable was a white lady with silver hair, which is why I thought that the power broker was her.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know who the Wakanda girl was. Was that like his general? Black Panther's general?
That wasn't the. It was like she had like a small part in Black Panther. She was kind of like the one lady second in command.
Is she the one who like watched over the White Wolf when he was there?
I think so. Yeah,
that would make sense. That like he knows her personally.
She's there to collect Zemo because he killed King. What was it? I forget the first one. T'Challa.
King T'Challa. No, T'Challa is
T'Challa's the
Black Panther.
Yeah, the new one.
I don't remember. They only briefly talk about him in the in Civil War.
Yeah,
when that movie has so many things going on.
Yeah, I forget what the name of that guy is. Who he's the one who dies at the UN.
Yeah.
But that's why they want.
I forgot that Zemo did. I thought the Winter Soldier did that.
No, Zemo pinned it on.
Right. I gotta watch that movie again.
Yeah,
there's just so much shit going on in that movie. It wasn't even really a Captain America movie, but
no, yeah, that should have been like an Avengers,
it's like a sub Avengers.
Yeah,
movie.
like Avengers. That should have been Avengers Civil War, not Captain America Civil War.
It was really a Spider-Man movie in the end.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we're at 2 hours now.
Yeah,
but talking about Monkey. But anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Don't eat a lot of fish, I guess.
Yeah, and don't throw pennies at someone just because you're in a bad mood.
I know I said throw car batteries in the ocean, but let's not
do that. Oh, sorry. All right, you're telling people not to do it.
You're going to say do it?
Listen, I shouldn't say whether you should do it.
Send us pictures of you guys throwing car batteries in the ocean.
We'll send you a t-shirt with Tabletop Tonic.
Yeah. And then we'll also send that picture to the EPA. But
listen, I'm not going to tell you to throw car batteries in the ocean, but if you do it, just live your life, I guess, I've thrown things into the ocean before that I shouldn't have, like a vape one time. It's a small battery. You could probably put enough vapes together to make a car battery. That's what my next car is going to be.
It's just a vape machine.
Because I'm such a piece of shit, I'm just going to put a bunch of vapes together. And the air conditioner is going to blow vape smoke in your face so you can't see.
It smells like cotton candy.
Yeah, it'll be undrivable, and I will put children in it in the back. Not my kids, but I will.
Other people's kids.
Yeah, I'm doing a new daycare Uber service where I
drive.
I Uber to your house and I bring them to daycare.
And you
for
smoke out the kids in the back.
And I vape the entire fucking time like an asshole. And you can trust me with your kids.
Yeah, and you're always turning around and asking them questions.
Yeah.
You're not looking at the road. Yeah. So what do you kids do? Huh?
Do you guys know where Washington Ave is? I think I'm lost.
Yeah. Do you guys know where you go to school?
All right, give me all your Pokemon cards. I want the shiny ones.
Yeah.
But anywho, follow us on Instagram at Tabletop Tonic. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where we put the videos up at Tabletop Tonic, and also our Odyssey account. That's ODYSEE.
If you have one of those, yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't, but it's a cool website where you get cryptocurrency for uploading it. And me and Nick are big crypto boys now. Not really, but we're on there too.
I just watch you do crypto.
Yeah, we're on there too. We are on Apple Podcasts, baby.
Yeah.
Oh my God, fucking finally. So we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Google Podcasts,
Anchor. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably already know that.
Yeah.
We are on those websites.
But it's a big deal for us, and we wanted to tell you guys.
Yes, 100%, because it took a long time to get validated to be worthy. But you can go to our anchor.fm/Tabletop Tonic page and find everywhere we are to listen, and also our website, tabletoptonic.com.
Yep.
And if you want any questions or comments, email us at tabletoptonic@gmail.com.
And or you can DM our Instagram and stuff like that. We have the voice thing on Anchor too. Someone did send me a message on my personal Instagram account they wanted to talk to me about. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
What'd they say?
They had a gripe with the first episode where I said I wish all movie theaters die.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you know the person?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's well, we can say it's Quinturon.
Oh.
He was listening.
He's welcome to
Yeah, no.
Quinn, if you're listening, you're welcome to
in the next one or soon or whatever, we could I don't know, we can have him call in or have him come in or something.
yeah, call in and or anyone really that has a gripe with anything.
Yeah, please.
Shoot us a DM or a email and call in, and we can like do a segment on the show where we argue. And there's 2 of us and 1 of you. But anyways, death to movie theaters.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, long live Netflix, long live HBO, long live Hulu.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.